Okay.
So,
Hello. All right. Looks like we are good on that front. Oh man, the website I was using to automatically tweet out whenever I went live on Twitch is now going to make that a paid service. Hopefully I can find another one that's free.
that's crazy.
Like, I don't know why they would expect people to pay for that. It takes like 2 seconds to scroll down on your Twitch page, hit the share to Twitter button, and it's the same thing. Like, I don't know why we're expected to pay for that service. So, there has never been a season in NBA history where both conference finals were sweeps. Never.
So let's see if it ends up happening again. That history gets made by this Miami Heat team.
Yeah.
Because if we win and complete the sweep, both conference finals get to be sweeps. They're the first eight seeds since the Knicks in '99 to make the finals. The first eight seed to ever win a game by 25 or more points. They're the first eight seed. They're the first play-in team to win a playoff series. They'll be the first play-in tournament team to win a playoff series, make it to the conference finals, to win the conference finals, and make it to the finals. And if they win the championship, then they'll be the first play-in team to win the whole fucking thing. As a matter of fact, it'd be a hell of a fucking statement. You could argue they would rig it for Miami based off of that, because that would be really good for the concept of the play-in tournament, is to have a play-in team actually win.
That's true. I doubt it, though. I think them just making the finals should be good enough.
Yeah, I know it's not going to be rigged.
Yeah.
It will only be rigged for Miami to lose.
Mhm.
As a Heat fan, I know what the truth is.
Yeah. So I listened to the Bill Simmons podcast for the first time in like 4 years earlier today.
And how'd that go?
It was pretty fun because he has a co-host for a lot of these NBA podcasts. I don't know if you know who it is. It's Ryan Russillo. He's another NBA writer. He's also a Celtics fan, and it was kind of funny because way back when the playoffs started, Bill actually came out and said, I don't want to play the Heat. He kept referring to them jokingly as the zombie Heat because everyone thought they were dead and now they're alive again and they're coming to get, the zombie Heat. And the whole time, apparently, and I hadn't listened to these pods. Maybe I'll go back and listen to them now. The other guy, Ryan Russillo, kept, saying like, "Oh, what the hell are you afraid of? This team shouldn't even be in the playoffs. They were down by 10 points to the Bulls in the fourth quarter, barely made it in. Like, are you crazy? Their whole lineup is nothing but a bunch of undrafted players." And I guess earlier this year he was also kind of mocking the whole idea of the Heat culture. Like, if their culture is so great, why didn't they get Giannis? If their culture is so great, why don't they ever get these big free agents? And now he just kind of has to sit there and be like, yeah, I don't think I've ever been as wrong about any basketball thing in my life as I have this. Like, I thought this Heat team sucked.
Yep, I'm glad. Uh, that's just fucking hubris right there. And that's another reason why I hope that the fucking, because like there's a lot of insufferableness when it comes to professional sports fan bases. I have long said that the most insufferable fans out there are Bay Area sports fans. However, there's plenty of people out there who think that there are other fan bases that are more insufferable, and there are plenty of other fan bases that have arguments when it comes to that, you know? New York sports fans, Boston area sports fans, which is the whole reason I'm bringing it up, Chicago area sports fans, very fucking annoying people. Los Angeles area sports fans. Austin area sports fans, especially when their team is good, are awful. When the Patriots were dynasty, dude, that shit sucked so much. Listening to those turds. When the Red Sox won, that fucking sucked. Listening to them talk about baseball. The fact that the Celtics managed to beat Miami in the conference finals last year, even though they got molested in the fucking finals. Winning in 7. When Lowry was like playing like shit. Oh god.
Butler missed that stupid fucking 3.
Yeah, there were so many different things that didn't go our way in that series, and in spite of that fact, we still almost fucking took it. We would have lost the Warriors anyway. But it drives me nuts that Celtics fans have the audacity to sit there and think that their team is unstoppable because they have a little bit of success. Other teams might have other fan bases might have their team is successful, their team is doing well, but they keep things within the realm of like fucking reality. They don't crown themselves that early. Now there are fan bases that do, infamously New York-based fan bases, the fucking Knicks.
They
skate
scared now.
Exactly, but like the shit you're talking about, sit there and call them the zombie heat, even though Bill, in your fucking describing this whole thing, even though Bill's the one who's more down to earth about this whole thing, calling them the zombie heat is enraging. Because last year, they were 1 win away from the finals.
He was just referring to the fact that this year they went through a really rough patch and it seemed like they might be dead.
I know. But that rough patch involved a lot of injuries and Jimmy playing in a very inconsistent fashion that was very unlike him. And Spo got into his ass plenty of times and he finally got it together. You know, it is what it is. But I'm fucking offended calling him the zombie heat, because even if you want to sit there and justify it like that, it's all like this franchise 3 seasons ago was in the finals. Last season was a game away from being in the finals again. Lost in Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Now they're 1 win away from the finals again. And the worst thing that could happen right now is that they would lose in 7. Which, more than likely, knock on wood, won't happen. But even if it does, while that'll be a legendary playoff collapse people will remember for decades to come, they'll still look back on this and say, to be fair, that was an 8th seed. To be fair, Jimmy was hurt in the playoffs. To be fair, that roster was filled with a lot of undrafted players. Spo got a hell of a lot more out of that squad than people expected. Them losing is what people thought was going to happen. ESPN gave Miami a 3% chance to win this series. Bill Simmons calling him the zombie heat, he should fuck himself, and he deserves to be there live to watch that team get fucking swept right in front of his eyes. The same way fucking prancing around and fucking declaring victory prematurely and acting like that kind of fucking hubris. Man. Fuck that kind of attitude, man.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That is the exact reason why there is no fan base out there who feels bad for the Celtics.
Oh yeah, there's nothing to feel bad about. Although
no one has any pity for them. There are people right now who are pitying the Lakers because they're like, generally they're pitying LeBron. They're sitting there like, man, this team has no chemistry after what Westbrook did to him. Anthony Davis is a huge disappointment. LeBron needs help, blah, blah, blah. The point is, even though there's people doing the victory dance after watching LA get humiliated tonight, there's still plenty of people who are sitting there like, man, you got to feel for LeBron. You got to feel bad for the Lakers, whatever. No one's going to say that shit about the Celtics.
No, I mean, this might not be happening if they had just let their head coach have consensual sex with a woman.
And see, that's the thing. People made it sound worse than it really was. They made it sound like he cheated on his wife. He cheated on his girlfriend. Now, cheating is still bad and everything, But his ex herself said when the shit went down, when it happened, she said, Celtics organization is really fucking us over by airing our dirty laundry in public and going so far as to suspend him and fire him. They should have let us settle this in private because this is our private lives. Trying to do some shit like this is a really bad move. And she's been celebrating watching the Celtics fucking collapse. Not because, she blames them for what happened and everything. Like she's in a happier position in her life. She's glad things worked out the way that they did. She moved on. But she's like, the Celtics deserve to fail for not letting us handle that our way. And she's got a point. I'd have been mad as fuck if that was me. Like, if some shit happened in my relationship and then suddenly, even though it was nothing other than relationship drama, but then all of a sudden my boss calls me and it tells me I'm getting suspended. Fucking kidding me? And to then fire me for that shit, I would sit there and say, okay. Wrongful termination suit.
I mean, at least he immediately found a new job, I guess.
Yeah, and he's doing fine now and everything, but like, they fucking did him dirty. And for them to be going through what they're going through right now, it's like, you fucking deserve this. That being said, while Joey Meatballs really sucks as a coach, I'm gonna be the one to sit here and say it. The Celtics would still be having these problems, even if he wasn't the coach. Now, he's doing an awful job coaching, and he's making a lot of mistakes that, really ought not to be there. But number one, Miami's a good team, and they're earning their wins. Number two, the Celtics' attitude and spirit as a franchise, like, they overachieved last season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Apparently, a lot of the times in Celtic timeouts, the guy who's sitting down and talking to the team is not Joe Mazzulla. It's Al Horford. So it's kind of like when LeBron was playing for a Ty Lue team, and Ty Lue would just sit there and let LeBron coach. But it's fucking Al Horford. He's pretty washed up. Why is he the coach? That's pretty weird.
Yeah, it's been pretty funny watching that NBA goober guy talking about the Heat Celtics series, because he's talking about how he wants the Celtics to win because they have Al Horford, because he himself is a Hawks fan. So he's all like, I want Horford to win a championship. And I'm like, dude, why?
I mean,
because Horford's out there doing the same shit too. First of all, again, the Celtics have lost every single game in this series. They're on the verge of getting swept. In game one, Horford hits a 3 and had the audacity to fucking celebrate. And he starts making a T with his hands because he's trying to be like, oh, after a big shot like that, you gotta call timeout.
Right, I saw that.
So fucking Jimmy, after he nails a huge shot in the last game to go up 3-0, he's sitting there, and he's doing the finger gun celebration after he hits that 3, and then he sees Horford's walking towards him, so then he fucking does the same T thing while he's just staring at him. And it's all like, you fucking deserve this. Miami was not arrogant. Miami did not come out and fucking talk smack before the series started. They didn't say shit. But they're damn well ending this. This is hubris, plain and simple. The Celtics deserve this. This is the end result of Danny Ainge obliterating the Celtics' reputation as a franchise. This is the end result of Danny Ainge trading Isaiah Thomas when he left his sister's funeral early to play in Game 1. And the night he got the news that his sister had died, he still fucking played. And a few weeks later, Danny Ainge traded him for a guy who stayed for a season and a half. This is the end result of Danny Ainge doing some of the fucking most repugnant shit that we've seen a GM do for almost a decade. And like he sacrificed the franchise's reputation like this. And it's all for nothing. Because everyone knows as soon as the sweep ends here, the Celtics are going to go back to the drawing board and they're going to do the same shit that all the other loser teams have done this postseason. They're going to start making radical changes. Tatum and Brown both are looking at trying to get supermaxes, and the Celtics can only afford to pay one of them.
Yeah. Brown's gone, I think.
Right. They're going to have to pick one, and I can guarantee you whichever one they pick will be the wrong choice. As if that isn't enough, they're going to go through yet another coaching change and cause yet another problem. The Celtics are going to be listless next season. Horford may retire. He's old enough.
He should.
Marcus Smart winning Defensive Player of the Year last year, I called it when it happened that was one of the most horseshit awards I'd ever seen. I was absolutely fucking bamboozled they did that shit. I was flabbergasted.
What if they get Doc Rivers back?
That would be the cherry on top.
That'd be amazing.
That would be poetic justice. But at this point, the Celtics, like, they're done. As we know them right now, they're going to have to reload again. And I mean, hey, Danny Ainge's crazy antics, had them going on some deep playoff runs. They had some very memorable playoff moments in the last few seasons, and it resulted in them making the finals last season and the ECF this year. But all anyone's going to remember is, man, that team really underperformed.
I think Ainge is gone now. I think he went to the Jazz. I could be wrong.
I don't know if it's the Jazz, but I know he is gone. 2 seasons ago, he got replaced by Brad Stevens, who got promotion to coach and GM, and Stevens said, being coach and GM is stupid. Even Greg Popovich realized that. So while Pop demoted himself because he wanted to keep coaching, Stevens removed himself as the coach. And then brought in the philanderer. But I mean, seriously, like, firing a guy over what he did, like, cheating's bad. Cheating is not good. You can only make the moral argument for we want to take a stand here and not have this in our organization when it's a marriage and a guy's having an affair and he's breaking his wedding vows.
And we all know that's not why they fired him. They fired him because he was having an affair with somebody who worked for the team. So it's not like they cared about that.
Well, yeah, that too. That's a good point. But as I brought up earlier when you and I were talking about this, is probably off stream, but when in an office environment, when people start getting romantically involved like that, this kind of thing happens pretty frequently. Because when men and women are spending all that kind of time around each other, I mean, I was telling you the fucking story last night off stream. Like, this kind of shit just happens.
Yeah.
Even if people don't want it to, somebody gets a little too interested, and that's the whole reason that HR as a department exists. And if they were both consenting, then the only problem anybody could have with it, the only 2 problems is, number 1, that he was cheating, but number 2, that it's an office environment kind of thing. But like in the COVID era, in addition to the fact that this is professional sports, they could easily just separate the 2 of them in terms of distance. They say, okay, when he's in town, she works from home, so that way they're not both in the office at the same time. And when he's on the road coaching with the team, then she can come into the office. But don't have them on the premises together at the same time. This is the kind of shit that people have to do if for whatever reason, like a married couple worked for the same company. They also try to do something similar where they try to keep the 2 apart because they're like, if your marriage is good, then we don't want you distracting each other by like doing some public displays of affection and when you should be working. And if your marriage is bad, we don't need you airing your dirty laundry in public and fucking, going on with that kind of shit. There's no real winning approach there. It's just a mess, man. Like, he wasn't the best coach in the world, but getting rid of him for the stupidest reason is just dumb. Black.
Being one of the most historic sports franchises ever, and arguably the most historic NBA franchise ever, the Celtics have won one title in, I think, 38 years.
List of Boston Celtics seasons. Why am I doing this? I already know the last time the Celtics won a fucking championship before 2008. 2023 minus 1986. 37, yeah, you're right. Last 37 seasons, one championship.
Not good.
How many championships have the Lakers won in that same time frame?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
87, 88, the three-peat, 9 and 10. 7? Oh, sorry, 8. Bubble year.
Yeah. And so many of those Celtics rings came when there were only 8 teams. It's like, I don't know how you could even make the argument now.
Right. It's total crap. Like, the only reason people should even be bringing up the history from back when there were only 8 teams is to make fun of the Knicks. Because when there were only 8 teams, the Knicks were one of those 8 teams, and during that time frame, they never even made the finals. The fact that they've been around since 1947 and they only won 2 championships, and that was back when Elvis was alive and the U.S. was in Vietnam. Yeah, like I'm taking a look at the list of Boston Celtics seasons right now. Their first championship, again, they were one of the first teams to be created in 1947. Their first championship was in 1957 when they had Bob Cousy, and of course Bill Russell, Tom Heinsohn on that team too. Lots of very famous names on that list. But here's the kicker. When you look at the list of the series that they had in the playoffs that are listed here, there's the division finals and then the NBA finals. Because when you win your division, you'd skip the first round, so there were only 3 rounds of the playoffs. There's a division semifinals where like pretty much everyone got to play there. Then there's the division finals where it's just, the only 2 teams left in the conference. And then the NBA finals. Which is completely insane. I mean, as if all this shit isn't enough, most of those championships that they won were against the St. Louis Hawks.
Pettit St. Louis Hawks.
That's fucking outrageous. Oh, they really lucked out picking up Larry Bird, because if it hadn't have been for that, the last championship that they would have won before 2008 was in fucking 1976.
That was the one year they didn't win with either Russell, Bird, or Paul Pierce, right?
Um, well, there's also the 1974 Celtics.
Okay. They won a couple in the 70s.
However, John Havlicek, I think, was still on those Russell Celtics teams. And he was there in 74 and 76. So, yeah. Um, those same four all-time Celtics greats have been a part of every single championship that they've ever won. Bill Russell, John Havlicek, Larry Bird, and Paul Pierce. So, like, all guys who played virtually their entire career with the Celtics. And that's another thing. That's another reason why I fucking hate Danny Ainge. Is even though Paul Pierce had a very interesting career after he left the Celtics, like he had still what was an all-time great playoff performance taking down the Raptors when he was on the Wizards, he should have fucking been able to retire a Celtic. And yeah, he got the king's ransom from the Nets. But like, what the fuck did they do with it?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of. I mean, on the other hand, it's not like Paul Pierce is a historically all-time great player on the level of like a Kobe or a Duncan or a Dirk. He's not on those
But
guys'
he's,
level.
yes, that's true. However, he's still, I would say, a top five Celtic of all time.
Russell, Bird, Havlicek, Kuzi, Pierce. Yeah, okay, I can buy it. Like KG was only there for like 5 seasons, so it can't
Nah,
be him.
okay, I'll say six then, because in that list of guys that you just mentioned, you were missing McHale.
Oh yeah, McHale.
I'm not sure. Did Kevin McHale play his entire career with the Celtics?
Believe that he did. Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, Dave.
13 seasons in the NBA, all with the Celtics. He didn't leave to other franchises until he started coaching. But, okay, so Paul Pierce, sixth best Celtic of all time.
Yeah, David, how long is McGee out? Is he out for the year? Do you know? Yeah, okay, so let me think. I mean, it's kind of like how Derek Jeter isn't one of the top 5 Yankees ever. Like, that's not really a reflection of him. That's a reflection of the team being so historically
Yeah,
good.
and overall, and again, because this is a franchise that's been around since 1947, in 14 years, we're going to have the 100th anniversary season of the NBA, which will also be the 100th anniversary of the Boston Celtics as a franchise, and the New York Knicks as a franchise, and probably some other teams because I'm pretty sure they've been around since the whole thing too. Like I think the Lakers were one of the first teams, but is Minneapolis.
I think you're right.
But
Weren't the
so you know
Baltimore
that
Bullets early?
I think here let me just fucking
The
what are
original 8 or
the
whatever.
original NBA teams? This is way back when it was the BAA, by the way. So the original teams of the NBA were the Boston Celtics, Chicago Stags, it would become Bulls, Cleveland Rebels, which would become Cavaliers, the Detroit Falcons, which would become Pistons, New York Knicks, the Philadelphia Warriors, which would become the Golden State Warriors, Pittsburgh Ironmen, and the Toronto Huskies.
Toronto Huskies. Nice meme.
The first ever NBA game, and again, this is why it was called the BAA. It was the Basketball Association of America. They called it that because they were thinking North America, and it was because there were multiple Canadian teams at the time, I think, kind of like hockey. And the first ever NBA game was between the Knicks and the Toronto Huskies. Because of that, I'm pretty sure in the 2046 oh, sorry, you're right, yeah, that'll be, I said in 14 years, I meant 24 years. So when Joker and I are in our 50s, yeah, it's gonna suck. But, in the 2046-2047 season, I think, just to cap on the history and everything, it'll probably be a Raptors Knicks game on the 1st of November.
Makes
It'd be
sense.
like, 100th anniversary. So yeah, at the very beginning, the league was called the Basketball Association of America. It consisted of 2 divisions and 11 teams. Uh, duh, 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 duh. New York Knicks, Boston Celtics, Philadelphia Warriors, which would become the Golden State Warriors. I was looking at a thing. It only named 8. The original 8 franchises
Right.
that I was talking about, and back when they were 8 teams, because the BAA cut it down when they became the NBA, and then that's when they started doing the championships. Everyone was, you know, when we were saying that Bill Russell won when there was only 8 teams.
Yeah.
The Knicks, the Celtics, the Philadelphia Warriors that became the Golden State Warriors, the Minneapolis Lakers, which became the LA Lakers, the Rochester Royals, which became the Sacramento Kings, Fort Wayne Pistons, which became the Detroit Pistons, and for a while were the Detroit Falcons and all that kind of fucking crazy shit. Chicago Stags, the whole thing. God, this fucking I can't even fucking keep track of this shit anymore. I'm just closing the whole fucking thing. This is just too. People keep mentioning too many franchises that were like not real, basically, and just like fucking lasted for a season before getting destroyed. What the fuck? What a meme. Mmm, yummy, yummy crap.
And somehow the Knicks have 2 titles.
Yeah, during that whole fucking time, they're only sitting on 2 rings. Good job, fellas. You totally fucked it. So anyway, moral of the story is, the Celtics have been around for a long time, and most of their historical success occurred back when there were only 8 teams in the league. And at the time, there were basically only like 2 black guys in the league, Wilt and Bill Russell.
Oh, yeah, I think back then there was an unspoken rule that you were only allowed to have 2 black players on your team. It was like a
I would,
unspoken agreement that like, hey, two,
I
two is
would,
the max.
I wouldn't be surprised because, folks, this is literally before civil rights.
Right.
This is back when Martin Luther King Jr. was just some pastor who kept talking shit.
Right.
This is back when Martin Luther King Jr. was just some guy that the FBI was watching.
Yeah.
Just like the rest of us. But anyway, so because of that, it really bugs the shit out of me when Celtics fans talk shit like this. Which is why I'm so happy that this is unfolding the way that it is, and I am so glad that fucking Bill Simmons and that other guy are having to witness this, because they fucking deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, Bill was the one who was saying all along, like, I don't want to play these Heat. They got Spoelstra. They got Butler. You know, I think
But
people.
still they deserve to suffer. So anyway, think about it like this, because again, most of the people listening to this are football fans. They've been listening to me drone on about basketball for an hour. I'm sorry, blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's basketball time, and
Think
NFL
about it.
is slow right
Right.
now.
Think about it like this, guys. Let's imagine here for a second that Tom Brady is basically the NFL's Bill Russell. Which would make sense because not only does he have the most championships that anyone in the NBA's, or sorry, that the NFL's ever got, but also Tom Brady is black. So let's imagine, for the sake of argument here, that the Patriots as a franchise basically never again are relevant. So 50 seasons from now, imagine Patriots fans talking shit because their team is like a wild card team, and then they bring up, yeah, this is the historical greatness of a franchise like ours after like 50 years of barely being relevant, just because Tom Brady way back when was incredible.
Okay, I just sent you something on DMs.
Lakers star LeBron James is unsure if he'll be with the team when the next season starts in retirement. Thank you, Christ. The only two things that he had to be playing for is to break Kareem's record and to play with his fucked up kid. But if he wants to play with his kid, he's going to have to be here for 2 more seasons. And after this shit, I think he's really exhausted.
I wonder if he could find a way to force his way out, though.
More to the point, I really think LeBron, when he started seeing the extent of the longevity that he had in his career, I think he wanted to confirm he'd be the last person from that draft class to be playing before he left. It comes as no surprise to me that this news is coming out the day fucking Melo retires. I think if the Lakers won this game, I think we'd be hearing about LeBron saying, you know what? I'd really like to end my career on a high note. I'm hoping that we become the first team to come back down 3-0, and that when we get back in the finals and I win another championship, I want to go out on top. I think regardless, he'd be talking about retirement right now, and that this is coming out right now because, like, again, what the fuck does he have left to play for? If he wants to play with his kid, he has to stay another 2 seasons.
Right.
Does he have it in him? Because, like, here's the thing. Everyone would have those expectations on LeBron, and if he stayed 2 more seasons, like, people would be pissed at him if he just played the 1 game with his kid to be able to say that he did and then retired on the spot. But, honestly, I don't think he's going to flat out retire. I think he will play next season, and I'm saying that for 2 reasons. Number one, if he comes back and plays next season, it is 20 years in the NBA.
More than Shaq.
And number 2, there's no chance in hell he would miss the opportunity to have a retirement tour the same way Kobe did.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that's a huge part of it. David in the chat brings up a good point. What if he takes a year off to rest his body and then comes back to play with Bronny?
Well, a lot of people are saying that. However, that would be kind of pointless. Because the only reason he'd do that is because he would want to play out the season with his kid, but why the fuck would he want to do that? Like, think about who LeBron is as a player. LeBron is mean. LeBron is a prima donna. LeBron is a drama queen. LeBron is all about basically bullying people. Bullying his coach, bullying his teammates, bullying everybody. I really think he'd only want to play with his kid for 1 game, because if he played with his kid sucks.
Yeah.
His kid is not good. His kid will get drafted into the NBA because of who his father is. But if his kid had any talent, he'd be going to UCLA, not USC. Again, for those of you who don't pay much attention to basketball, USC is not known for their basketball program. They're known for their football program. UCLA, however, is very known for their basketball program. They're one of the most historic NCAA basketball teams out there. If Bronny had any talent, he'd have gone to UCLA. Because he doesn't, USC was happy to take him because that's the equivalent of, like, when you go to play for an Ivy League school on the athletic scholarship because their teams all suck.
Yeah, it's
I can't imagine him wanting to play a whole season with his kid because his kid's not good. He just yell at his kid and he'd be mad the whole time. He's like, damn, I should have just stayed retired. More to the point, oh, I know what happened. He would retire for a season and mention that he wants to come back to play with his kid. The reason he'd do that is twofold. Number one, he'd be able to pick where he wants to go next. And number 2, he can convince a team to draft his kid high.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen.
So that his kid gets paid more. By essentially maneuvering behind the scenes to be like, okay, if you take my kid 3rd overall, I'll sign with Detroit. Or some shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is literally what is going to happen. I don't know if he's going to take this year off because I guess he could just like fake it. He could come back, play in a few games, fake a lot of injuries, and just play like
You
30
could even
games
make a
next year.
joke at Anthony Davis's expense. It's all like, wow, I see why he keeps coming back here. He's comfortable on this bed.
Yeah.
Pretty much as soon as I said that, I was like, oh yeah, that's gonna be what happens now. He's it's gonna be the brawny sweepstakes so that they can have because any team that's bad enough, they're not gonna give a shit. They're just gonna want eyes on their product to make that money. Bronny's gonna suck. He's gonna be like he would genuinely be lucky to have the same career as Austin Rivers because Austin Rivers, for as much as he's a meme, he's still getting passed around in the NBA, and it don't have nothing to do with the fact that he's Doc's kid. He's just like he's okay for a bad to middling team to bring him off the bench because somebody's got to fill in those roles, and Austin Rivers is saying, yeah,
He has these. I mean, somebody has to be filling out those rosters.
exactly. And Austin Rivers, you could actually do a lot worse if your entire guess, or if your entire thing is just that you want to have a guy fill up a guard slot for 10 minutes a game, maybe 50 or 60 games a season. You could do a lot worse. Because there's a lot of shitty guys in the NBA who fulfill roles like that. Like, I'm remembering right now, early on in a post-LeBron years with Miami, a fellow by the name of James Ennis. He didn't go to a college. He was taken from Australia because he played in the Australian League. And in the season opener, he had one of the greatest season openers essentially ever. He had an amazing poster dunk on Russell Butler, who's now dead.
You remember
And
Rasul Butler?
that's how I remember him. He fucking like chaos dunked all over the guy. It was beautiful. And me and a lot of other Heat fans, because that was like his first game, we thought, holy shit, here he goes. But he just wasn't all that good. Another guy I bring up, some Lakers fans may remember him, Andrew Goudlock.
Yeah, the
Andrew
Glock.
Goudlock, although he wasn't able to really bring much to the team, he had one of the prettiest floaters that I've ever seen. And when he went to the G League, he basically became the G League GOAT. So like he kept bouncing back and forth between the minors and the majors because every time he went to the minors, he was clearly the best player in the league. He was dominating. But every time he got called back up to the professional league, he was like barely a role player at best. So essentially, career-wise, he was in limbo. And it makes me think of Bull Durham because I'm like, it becomes a question of would you rather suck ass in the major leagues, or would you rather be the king of the minors?
I've often thought about that. Like, would you rather be the best player to never make the Hall of Fame or the worst player who makes the Hall of Fame?
Considering there's a lot of people who haven't made the Hall who are excellent, and a lot of people who are dog shit, I'd rather be the best player who never made the Hall. Because then you join a company like Bill Laimbeer, who's a fucking amazing player. It's like Pete Rose is one of the greatest of all time. Never made the Hall of Fame because of the whole gambling thing. If you sit there and say I would rather be the best MLB player who never made the Baseball Hall of Fame, you're saying you're better than Pete Rose. Like, yeah, I'd like to be better than Pete Rose.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the thing is, if you're the best player not in the Hall of Fame, then everybody talks about you positively forever. They're like, man, that guy was so good. How is he not in the Hall of Fame? Whereas if you're the worst player in, it's the opposite. It's like, how does that guy get in the Hall of Fame? He sucks.
Not only that, but here's another way to think about it. Bringing up Pete Rose again. If you don't make the Hall and you're amazing, there's usually a reason for it. A lot of the time it has to do with politics. Like Bill Laimbeer won't get in because the people who vote on Hall of Fame entrants are the people he played with. And they would never allow him into the Hall, regardless of how much he deserves it. Because they hate him. And Pete Rose didn't make it because of the whole gambling thing. Now, if the only thing you care about is being immortal, in some ways, if you end up in that kind of situation, you're more immortal than if you had made the Hall, because you'll forever be somebody talked about, you know, like you're saying, how's that guy not in there? But they'll talk about why you're not. You know, long after people will barely remember who the fuck Pete Rose was in terms of his ability to play, they'll be like, yeah, man, that whole gambling thing, it's crazy.
There are
So the
people.
only thing you care about, and like Napoleon Bonaparte said, that when a man dies, he dies twice. There's the first death of his physical body, and then there's the second death when your name is spoken for the last time.
That's a good
In
point.
that regard, even ancient people who've been dead for thousands of years, like Alexander the Great or Julius Caesar, are still alive because we still know them today.
Good point.
So in that perspective and in that kind of sense, you know, Pete Rose, it doesn't matter he didn't make the Hall of Fame, he'll be talked about in baseball forever. So if that's the kind of thing you care about, the Napoleon perspective, it's better to not make the Hall and be the best player to never make it than to be the worst player who ever made it. Because, like, a lot of people bring up Ralph Sampson as being one of the worst players to make it in the Basketball Hall of Fame because he was, like, the best college player ever. But how often do people bring up Ralph Sampson in general? He's not really brought up that often. He's not really talked about a lot. In terms of deserving to, because all he's got going for him is his professional career, Tracy McGrady's probably one of the worst to make the Hall. But I mean, it's a different scenario in his view because people be talking about 13 and 35 and how crazy he was as a scorer forever. But who the fuck talks about Ralph Sampson now? I mean, I think like Ralph Sampson's like the thing that he gets brought up the most is that people took like he got taken really high in the draft over some guys who were incredible.
Yeah, absolutely, he was. I mean, like, you also have players who don't make the Hall of Fame on pure merit. Like, Roger Maris has never made the Baseball Hall of Fame. You know, the guy who broke Babe Ruth's home run record initially? Roger Maris is considered to be the best player to not make the Hall of Fame purely based off his, you know, play. Would you rather be Roger Maris, or would you rather be like, whoever the worst baseball player in the Hall of Fame is? I don't know who that would be.
I'll Google it right now. Who's the worst player in the Hall of Fame? By this, we're talking about actual players and not just guys who made it, because I'm pretty sure Tom Hanks would be in the Baseball Hall of Fame for a league of their own kind of shit.
Really?
Like honorary Hall of Fame or some shit.
Yeah, I mean, not counting those guys.
I'm bringing that up as like a meme, like no meme picks, because obviously Tom Hanks would be the worst baseball player. Matter of fact, is Tom Hanks in baseball? Well, I'm not seeing anything about the Baseball Hall of Fame. However, Tom Hanks is part of another Hall of Fame because of his portrayal in a movie. Tom Hanks is the first actor to be inducted as an honorary member of the United States Army Rangers Hall of Fame because Captain Miller and Saving Private Ryan, all those dudes were Army Rangers in Captain Miller's whole platoon. And the thing is, Tom Hanks was never even in the military. So it's much the same way that like Bugs Bunny is an honorary gunnery sergeant in the United States Marine Corps because during World War II when they were making propaganda cartoons and everything, he wore a Marine Corps uniform and they had him ranked as a gunnery sergeant.
I mean, that's more cutesy than anything. I think people look at that and immediately they get it, right? They're like, okay, he...
Right, exactly. However, imagine if the guy who voiced Bugs Bunny decided to come out and be like a complete asshole and was all like, okay, I deserve a gunnery sergeant pension. Like, dude, fuck you. You know? So anyway, ranking the 25 least deserving MLB Hall of Famers and who should replace them. We got at number 1 is Bill Mazeroski. Why he's here? Mazeroski had a .299 career on-base percentage and only average power for a second baseman. Even given his elite fielding skills, he was not within miles of being a Hall of Famer. He hit the home run that won the 1960 World Series, though, and that was enough. Many members of the Veterans Committee that elected him watched that home run fly over their heads, which perhaps explains their appreciation.
Like, I'd probably rather be that guy than Roger. I'd probably rather be Roger Maris than that guy. I think that Roger Maris...
Here's another one, Lou Brock. He collected over 3,000 hits and he broke the all-time record for stolen bases. At the time, it was considered a no-brainer. However, Brock hit .293, .343, .410 for his career. Only Robin Yount has a worse career on-base percentage among players with 3,000 or more hits, and most have something like .370 or better. Brock had little power, little patience, and all that speed, which of course meant stealing bases. Consider, though, that while he led the league in steals 8 times, he led in times caught stealing 7 times. Base stealing's an overrated skill anyway, and Brock was not very efficient at it.
So he's like the Russell Westbrook of baseball or something?
Kind of. Where he got 3,000 hits, but that's because he had a ton of at-bats. His hitting percentages were actually dog shit. And he basically just tried to steal every time he was out there. And sometimes he was lucky, sometimes he wasn't.
Wait, real quick,
Yeah,
somebody...
Westbrook, I think.
Somebody in chat asked Snacks, how did you feel when LeBron signed with the Heat back in 2011?
I was going through a lot of emotions at the time. Because when he was doing the decision, everybody in the world knew that meant he wasn't going to stay with Cleveland, because there was no earthly reason why the fuck he would do an ESPN special just to announce that he was staying with Cleveland. So everyone was all like, "Where's he going? Where's he going?" I was like, I had my fingers super duper crossed that Chris Bosh was going to end up, because again, he was like one of my favorite players, and by this point in time, he's my favorite player ever. So, when I say by this point in time, I mean now. Back then, he was one of my favorite players. Back then, my favorite player of all time was Shaq. But, back then, he was one of my favorite players. Right now, he is my favorite player of all time. So, I had my fingers crossed we were going to get Bosh. I wasn't expecting LeBron to Miami, because I didn't think Pat Riley was going to put up with how much of a bitch he was. And in that sense, I was right. But when he said, I'm taking my talents to South Beach, and next season I'll sign with the Miami Heat and play with Dwayne Wade, I was like, holy shit. This might be something to see. I was in disbelief for a while. But as soon as they did the hype video thing, which came out, which he said, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not like all that shit, he said it's gonna be easy, I was like, we're the fucking NWO now, aren't we? And they even leaned into the shit and came out with the back in black jerseys in 2012 that were literally all black. The Heat had never before done anything like that, before or since.
Yeah, that was an all-time video.
I'm gonna look this shit up right now.
The hype video was an all-timer.
That was supposed to be just for Heat fans, because he did it. It was like his introduction. Well, it was the Big Three's introduction to the Heat fan base. It should never have been broadcast to everybody. Because let me tell you, the fucking Knicks hype video from 2008, people make fun of that shit, but it was supposed to be just to hype up Knicks fans.
Formidable.
Exactly. Third worst loss ever for New York. But yeah, I DM'd you just now those back in black jerseys. And like they look fucking like literally they're the NWO. Like
yeah. I remember back then, like after right after he went to Miami, like that first year, one movie that LeBron like kept kind of talking about and referencing was Public Enemies with Johnny Depp and Christian Bale. I don't know if you remember it or not, but Johnny Depp played John Dillinger. And I think that's kind
Oh
of...
yes, to do a timeout real quick. Yes, I remember that movie. I actually hated that movie when I saw it, and it's one of the movies I remember as being one of the movies I got my money back for. Because I was about halfway through it, and I was just so pissed off at how awful it was. I literally walked back to the ticket taker, and I said, "Yeah, I'm watching Public Enemies. That movie's fucking awful, and there's some kind of issue with the sound system in there. I don't know what the hell's going on, but it's just been a miserable experience. I want my money back." And I said, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem." Like,
Yeah.
literally, that's all you got to do is just tell them, "Hey, this shit sucks." But keep going.
But anyway, I think, the movie wasn't very good. I agree, by the way. I didn't like it that much. But LeBron referenced it a lot back then, and I think that he was kind of hoping it would be like that for him, where people would start liking him again, even though he was a villain, the same way people came to love John Dillinger, even though he was the bad guy. And I always thought that was kind of interesting. He kept talking about that movie back then. Just hoping that he could people would love him again. And I guess for the most part, you could say that people did eventually come around on him. Like, I'll be honest, I was rooting for the Heat when they played the Spurs because I fucking hate the Spurs.
Even though I think Tim Duncan's the GOAT, obviously I was rooting for the Heat. I mean, duh. But even if I had to look at it in a vacuum, I would have wanted the Spurs to lose, just to see that they fucking could.
I just don't like Spurs fans. They're entitled little babies.
They are entitled, however, they're much less insufferable than other fan bases. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're pieces of shit. Because everyone remembers, like, even though 2014 was the biggest blowout in the history of the NBA Finals. 2014 was the biggest ass beating in the history of the Finals ever. It literally holds the record for the largest margin of victory per win in the history of the NBA. Having said that, people don't bring up 2014 anymore. A big part of that is because LeBron's not the bad guy anymore, so people don't want to constantly trash talk him and all that kind of shit. But everyone talks about 2013 because it wasn't just an all-time great fucking performance from the squad and one of the greatest seasons that we've ever seen a team accomplish. But Ray Allen's shot is one of the biggest moments in the history of the finals ever. So Spurs fans have to cope with the fact that even though they got their revenge, and they literally hold the record for the biggest ass beating in the history of the finals, what people remember, especially now that we're 10 years removed from it, what people remember is the time they lost, and not the vengeance they got afterwards. And the reason that I say all that shit right now is because while the Heat fans were the first basketball fan base to bring the Seven Nation Army chant to basketball, the only other fan bases that do it and do it consistently are just whoever we're playing to mock us. And the Spurs fans did that in 2014. But they waited until fucking, I can't remember if it was Game 4 or Game 5 that was played in San Antonio. But, whichever one.
Well, let me think here. The Spurs had home court that series, I remember, because...
Well, 2014 was the first finals that changed the setup. Actually, I think it might have been 2013. I'm trying to fucking... Blech. When did the NBA get rid of the 2-3-2? Yeah, they got rid of it after the 2013 season, so 2014 was the first season that it happened. Where it went back to the regular playoff system, 2-2-1-1-1. So, since it was a 5-game series and the Heat had home court, you said?
No, the Spurs had home court in 2014 because Game 1 was the air conditioning game.
Right. Spurs had home court in 2014, so Game 5 was in San Antonio. So, again, last game of the series. They waited until then to chant and mock us. when it was obviously over. They waited until then to do it because they're not just entitled little bitches, but they're also fucking cowards. Because in 2013, they did the same shit. Because it was fucking, it was back and forth where, they were just trading blowouts. Game one was a blowout win for, fuck. I want to say game one was the Spurs won, then game two Miami, and then they just traded back and forth from there.
No, it was game one, the Spurs one. Remember the Parker shot where he like let the ball go when there was like 0.1001 seconds left on the
Yes,
shot clock?
I do remember the shot, but I couldn't remember if it was game one or game two. I
And then
think, yeah, that they won game one and the Heat came back with a vengeance in game two. So then they come in with a blowout, and then the Spurs blew them out in game three. And game three was the first game in San Antonio. So then the fuckers started chanting. So then here comes game four, and the Heat even up the series again and blow out the Spurs in San Antonio. And then here comes game five, where the Spurs win again. Now they're up 3-2. And since it's the last game in San Antonio, the fuckers chant again. And then game six happens, and then game seven happens. And you fucking Heat fans were doing the chant when Ray Allen hit his shot. And that's what people remember the most. Fuckers.
yeah,
So that's the point, is that Spurs fans, the entitlement is there because they're like, oh yeah, we're dominant and blah blah blah, and like they think that they should just always get their way, and as soon as the team stopped being good because all the legends fucking retired and moved on and shit, even though Pop was still there, the attendance fucking rock bottomed, man. Which is a shame because, again, one of the best organizations in the league, and they deserve a hell of a lot better from that, especially support from the fans. Because the Kings have been dog shit for a long time, but because the Kings were constantly getting threatened to move, the fans showed up.
right. I remember that. The thing is, the Spurs made the Western Conference Finals the year the Warriors first got KD. Like, they were still good after Duncan retired.
Because they still had Kawhi, right?
Yeah. Well, remember that was the series where the Spurs were up like 25 points in the game one, and then Kawhi got cheap shotted by, I can't remember his fucking name.
Draymond
And
Green. I was
and
just
that
making the joke.
yeah, I
Oh.
know. And that kind of was the beginning of the end for him. He hasn't really been stably healthy since.
Before I forget,
Oh,
the
Zaza,
1983.
Zaza Pachulia.
There we go. Before I forget, the 1983 NBA draft, again, Ralph Sampson taken first overall. Just about everyone who got taken would have been a better pick than him. However, here are some notable players who were taken after him who are not in the Hall of Fame while Ralph Sampson is. However, first I'll mention the one guy who also is in the Hall of Fame who definitely should have been fucking picked before him, Clyde Drexler.
Is he still not in? He has to be in.
No, I said someone who's in the Hall of Fame also while Ralph Sampson
Ah,
didn't
okay.
deserve to get in. This
Okay.
person does, Clyde Drexler.
Okay.
So now I'm going to mention people who are not in the Hall of Fame, who were taken afterwards, who would have been a better pick. Remembering that this is the Houston Rockets, and I'm reasonably sure that they already had a king. No, wait, they couldn't have. They got him the season afterwards because they drafted him in the Jordan draft. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so wait. Damn it, this is just confusing me. Hold on. Yeah, Akeem went the season afterwards. Okay, so Ralph Sampson in 1983 NBA draft. These guys would have been better picks for the Rockets. Dale Ellis, Jeff Malone. I would sit there and argue Byron Scott because Ralph Sampson had a fucking awful career as a player. John Paxson, Doc Rivers. In terms of his actual fucking production, fucking Mark West Way better. Let's see here. I'm also just trying to name guys that I think people would actually know, because like I said, just about anyone on this list would be better. Craig Elo was taken in. Back then, the NBA draft had 3 rounds. Craig Elo was taken 3rd round, 48th overall.
And Ralph Sampson.
Manute Bol.
Simpson.
Manute Bol was taken in the 1983 NBA draft, and he was fucking better than goddamn Ralph Sampson.
Yeah, Sampson peaked in his 2nd year, and then it was just a slow decline to the bottom.
And he was a 1st overall pick, man. Like, he was a 4-time All-Star, but they were all just in his first 4 seasons. And people were just giving him shit, man. Like you said, he peaked real early on. He peaked in his 2nd season. In fucking 1985. And then just absolute fucking dog shit. Like, his actual... oh, my God. Literally, his 2nd season was the last time he scored more than 20 points a game.
Yeah. It's kind of like how Blake Griffin peaked his rookie year.
His 3rd season was the last time he played more than 50 games. Jesus.
He was like 7'4", 7'5", right? He was like a giant.
7'4". Yeah. He and Hakeem were the original 2 towers. However, Ralph Sampson was so worthless that he very, very quickly, it became obvious that Hakeem was the one going forward. So anyway, yeah, like, fucking... If you could have that one back, like, Clyde Drexler got taken in that same bag, people take him. But when it comes down to it, in terms of what Ralph Sampson managed to do, almost anyone in that draft class would have been better than Ralph Sampson. But when you look at it, the only person who's in the Hall of Fame other than Ralph Sampson from that draft class is Clyde Drexler. No one else is in the Hall of Fame, and that's just in general, not just as a player. Doc may eventually go in, because when you look at him, you know, you have him as a player, but then also as a coach. Regardless of what we say about him, he's been coaching for 20 years.
He's got the 9th most wins ever.
Right. He'll probably make the Hall of Fame just as a coach. But the Basketball Hall of Fame counts everything you do. So, Doc Rivers occasionally being part of Team USA coaching and having awards there. International plays rated very highly in Hall of Fame stuff. His career as a player was not that good, which is why he's not in the Hall of Fame already. But, you know, him as a career, like you said, 9th most wins all time. He does have the championship with the Celtics, which are the best defense in the history of the league, or at least top 2.
I remember from the book of basketball, Bill Simmons was writing about Ralph Sampson, and he said, like, seeing him in person was one of the craziest experiences I ever had going to Celtics games because he was so big. And it was like, also, he was purple. And I don't care if you call me racist for saying it, but the dude was just purple. Like, he just was.
Yes. Patrice O'Neal could get away with saying stuff like this because obviously he's black, but he used to say that people who were like dark black, like Ralph Sampson is, he used to say they were from the sun. Because you have to live on the sun in order to be that fucking burnt dark. But yeah, as players, the only other guy who's in the Hall of Fame is Clyde Drexler, and Clyde Drexler obviously is the best player to come out of that draft class. But when you look at everyone else who's there, it's all like, you know what, for a career, I'd rather have Craig Elo. I'd rather have Byron Scott. I'd rather have Doc Rivers. I'd rather have, you know, all these other guys who weren't in the Hall of Fame. But then, obviously, if you get the chance to take Clyde Drexler, you know, doing that draft back, yeah, you would. Ralph Sampson, considering he only had 2 worthwhile seasons in the entirety of his fucking career, he should have gone in the 20s. Because that's when a team who needs only 2 good seasons out of somebody gets to pick.
Take a look at Ralph Sampson college stats. Yeah, Virginia.
And that's why he's basically the greatest college basketball player of all time. So between that and what he did in his career, which wasn't all that much, but they're like, "Hell, he was such a good college player. He's got a blah, 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 blah." Other shit.
He's about as good as Serge Ibaka.
Essentially, yes. Do you think Serge Ibaka is going to make the Hall of Fame?
I would hope not. Let me take a look at something with Ibaka. Who? Wait, is he? He might still be in the NBA. Yeah,
I
he's
believe it.
on. He's on the Bucks. He just never plays.
Yeah. I think everyone knows by now that Serge Ibaka is definitely um, older than he claimed to be.
He's like 48,
Yes.
unironically.
Yeah, he lied about his age to get in the league. Oh, I need another thing. That's why.
Yeah, Ibaka never even made an All-Star game. There's no way he's sniffing the Hall of Fame. The only guy who might make the Hall of Fame with no All-Star appearances is Ori. I'm sorry, Robert Ori. If I just say Ori, it makes people think of that weird fucking kid.
Nice, man. Control room items. We need the radio repeaters.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that shot, David. I saw it on YouTube a few days ago.
Oh.
The thing is, the Lakers that year would have gotten destroyed by the '86 Celtics. Like, that was not one of the Lakers' best years, and the Celtics that year were pretty dominant, so...
Yes, the 1986 Celtics are in the discussion for one of the greatest teams of all time.
Mm-hmm. The Rockets
By that,
actually
I
gave them
mean-
a series.
Yes, so keep that in mind whenever you're going to talk whatever kind of shit you're going to talk, because as much as I hate the Celtics and love to hear people shit talking them like that, gotta keep in mind. Larry Bird's just a fucking machine.
That was the year they had Bill Walton.
That too. I really wish Larry Bird would have the opportunity to, step into the rejuvenation machine and magically get the chance to take another crack at the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Because he'd be fucking incredible with the way that the game is played now. Because stretch bigs are their most popular and their most heavily desired in NBA offensive schemes. However, as much as stretch bigs are still good and all that, very few of them have the all-around ability to create a shot that Larry Bird has, plus that level of elite passing.
Yeah. Whereas I think Magic Johnson would not be that good in the modern NBA. He'd be like a better version of Andre Miller.
Yes, his jump shot was fairly broken for most of his career, but the argument a lot of people make is that that's during a time when the jump shot wasn't as needed, as necessary. And that the game was mostly played out of the post, and Magic had a great post game.
Mm-hmm.
When he came back for a minute after HIV, he had a couple more seasons in the NBA. By this point, the three-pointer had become more relevant, and jump shooting in general had become a larger part of NBA offenses. And he was actually a competent shooter. He was actually one of the best three-point shooters in the league in his final season. It's his ability to play basketball is it's just incredible. You can't argue with it. And he's a hard enough worker to where he tried to address difficulties or drawbacks in his game that would be holding his team back. The reason I think Magic wouldn't be all that amazing in the league today is because imagine him creating his own jump shot off the dribble the same way that other guards do. even if he becomes a good enough spot-up shooter, I can't imagine that being part of his game. Him having crazy fucking handles to pull that kind of shit off. He was great in the post, but he might be in that instance more of a stretch big, but like not dominating the way that he did, not affecting the game the way he did before. Plus, he not really all that good at defense.
Yeah, it would be really weird. I don't know how that would work. Like, when he came back to play a little bit, I think he actually came back and played a little bit in 1996. He was playing power forward because he was so big at that point. So he was actually playing, like... Maybe he would have been like Jokic or something. Like...
Yeah, probably. Excuse me. Whew. I just shit myself. Metaphorically speaking.
Oh. Hmm.
Like, you see it. Sometimes the Nuggets literally have Jokic taking the ball up the floor. Like, literally, he's the
Yes.
point guard. You see it,
Yes.
like, KG. Remember that one year when they made the deep playoff run and Marbury got hurt? He was playing point guard.
Right.
So you see that stuff sometimes.
Yes. One guard, one valet, one technician. Alright, let's go.
Oh, by the way, hey, Silver. Welcome to the stream. Anyway.
Alright.
God, all these shrines keep stripping me naked.
We desperately need to start gotta finish that stairs research. We gotta build in different directions.
Were you playing that Evil Genius game?
Yeah. I'm trying to get, like, to see if I want to bother buying it, because it's the only way that I'll be able to continue playing it. It's by either the end of this week or the end of the month, probably. It'll be gone, so... I added it to my Steam wish list to pick it up when it's on sale next. But...
You like it?
Well, so far it's okay, but I'm just playing the tutorial. Now, the tutorial is very in-depth and very long. I played 3 hours of the tutorial so far. But, it's still only the tutorial, so I got no idea if I like the actual game.
God, I should have thought that through.
Well, anyway, I'm gonna save this for now. And then play some more TV.
You gonna do a Jordan franchise at some point, or are you more interested in Shaq and LeBron?
I'm not interested because you'd have to play through the entirety of the 80s, and that's just not something that I'm interested in. 80s basketball, to me, it's really only interesting from the perspective of the Celtics-Lakers storied rivalry. I don't like to take over a team that's already dominant and to just play through them. It might be fun to do that, to, you know, fuck around for a little while, but it's not something I could see myself doing long term. And what's worse is that the way that I want to go about doing it, I want to be playing and drafting guys that aren't actually in the game. Like, I would love to do a Reggie Miller or a Charles Barkley one, but
Yeah. I mean, the Bulls weren't good when they drafted Jordan. You wouldn't be taking over a really good team, right? They were bad at that point.
yes, but still, it's Jordan. Not only that, but let me see here. I don't even know when Pippen got drafted.
I think the Sonics drafted him and then traded him on draft night.
It's 1985, first year with the lottery. Patrick Ewing taken first overall. This is the same draft that Karl Malone was taken at 13th. Impressive. Also taken in the famous 1985 NBA draft, Chris Mullin, Detlef Schrempf, Charles Oakley, Joe Dumars, AC Green, Terry Porter, Arvydas Sabonis, Michael Adams.
Bonus was awesome.
'86 NBA draft. Second overall, Len Bias, rest in peace.
Man, teams literally gave like top lottery picks to the Lakers and Celtics when they were at the peak of their game back then. Teams were really fucking stupid.
Yes. The pick, let's see here. Yeah, the second overall pick was the defending champion Boston Celtics. However, they got that pick from the Seattle Sonics.
Right, and the Lakers got the pick for James Worthy, which was number 1 overall in a trade. Talk about making it easy.
1986 NBA draft. Brad Daugherty was taken. Mark Price, Dennis Rodman, Kevin Duckworth, Jeff Hornacek, Drazen Petrovic. 1987 is the draft where Scottie Pippen gets taken. The Sonics took him, yes, and it was a pick from the Knicks. He was traded to Chicago for Olden Polynice.
Like Olden Palomine.
Yes. So in this draft, first overall, Spurs took David Robinson. Scottie Pippen taken in that draft. Right after Scottie, Kenny Smith to the Sacramento Kings, 6th overall.
Smith was pretty good.
Taken after Kenny, Kevin Johnson, Horace Grant, Reggie Miller, Mark Jackson, Reggie Lewis, and Sarunas Marciulionis from the Soviet Union. And the only reason I'm naming him is because he is one of the first Europeans to be inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. How about that? 1988 NBA draft, Danny Manning, first overall to the Clippers, Rick Smits to the Pacers, Mitch Richmond taking that draft, Hersey Hawkins, Dan Majorel, Rod Strickland, how about that? Anthony Mason, and notable undrafted that year, however, still someone who was eligible for the draft, John Starks. 1989 NBA draft. Sean Elliott, Glenn Rice, Mookie Blaylock, Tim Hardaway, Dana Barros, Sean Kemp, B.J. Armstrong, Vlade Divac, Clifford Robinson. All as relevant people taken in the draft. which is so many years of shit. Anyway, let's come back here, 1994. So here you go. Here's where you'd start. This would be the first year that you could do this. Is the beginning of the Jordan draft thingy. If you took over as the Jazz, you'd be able to take John Stockton in the first year, and then the year after that, you'd be able to take Karl Malone. Reunite Stockton Malone. Both of them drafted to the Jazz as rookies. How about that?
And now they've both been unpersoned.
What happened with Stockton? Is it just because he's white?
No, he's like stringent. He was stringently anti-COVID vaccine. Yeah, I think his own college refused to didn't want him to show up at one of their games because of the stigma at the time.
Yeah, I'm checking his Wikipedia page right now. Let's see here. Post-retirement activities. Yeah, nothing bad ends up getting said right up until, like you said. In 2021, Stockton appeared on a video series titled V Revealed COVID Edition, raising doubt about the COVID-19 pandemic and warning against vaccines. Stockton said he had done a significant amount of research and determined this isn't a virus cheating us of these opportunities. It's the guys making decisions saying, no, I'm scared, we're going to shut everything down. He made the claim that hundreds of athletes had died due to receiving a COVID vaccine, which was found by PolitiFact to be a false statement. Wikipedia is a meme, folks. In January of 2022, Gonzaga suspended his season tickets because of his refusal to comply with the university's mask mandate. So yes, you're right, his fucking alma mater, who he put on the map, suspended his season tickets as an NBA Hall of Famer and the greatest person to ever walk through their fucking doors. Put them on the map, this busted-ass fucking group of folks. Suspended his tickets because he wouldn't wear a mask.
I wonder if they'll ever, rescind that and be like, we're just going to pretend that didn't happen.
I think within the next 5 years. That's kind of fucking insane, because Stockton is one of the best players ever. The all-time NBA leader in assists and steals.
By far.
Like you said, by far. One of the greatest players ever, one of the greatest point guards ever, phenomenal passer. Steve Nash, I feel, is better on the whole as a scorer. And he has some insanely amazing good passing abilities. But if I have to take one point guard and say, that's who I want as my all-time greatest pick-and-roll point guard ball handler, I'd take Stockton.
Yeah, also, I think he only had, one injury in his whole career. He never missed games.
Yes, he and Malone were both Iron Men. Now, Malone was an Iron Man because he took steroids, so his body had the ability to recover. Stockton was an Iron Man because he was insanely obsessed with his physique and fitness, the same way Steve Nash was. You guys should read about Steve Nash's diet and fitness routines to keep himself supple and healthy. Sometime it was fucking completely bonkers shit, man. The guy was obsessed. Which you'd have to be in order to be one of the greatest of all time in that sense.
Yeah, I remember when Nash was on the Lakers, right at the end of his career, he was in so much pain from trying to still play basketball that I think he had to take an epidural, which is, for those of you who don't know, what they give to pregnant women to deal with pain. That's what he was dealing with.
This is nuts to me, man. Because I'm playing my Cavs franchise again. LeBron already has gold level dimer in his badge rank. Gold is the second best that your badge can be at. We are at home. We're leading by a lot. LeBron is hot, and my power forward guy Robert Kennedy is hot. Robert Kennedy's shot mid-range is 92 dimer. Robert Kennedy has silver catch and shoot and gold midi king. Literally, there's no reason that this shot should not go in.
Huh.
He has actually missed the last 5 mid-range shots. All of them wide open, uncontested. God damn. Is pretty much all I have to say. Like, god damn, dude. This should be as automatic as it comes if they're gonna give me that shit. But like when LeBron gets triple teamed on the drive and they leave my man that fucking open, what the hell else should I be doing? Good grief.
It is a make or miss league. Sometimes they make it, sometimes they miss it.
Live by the jumper, die by the jumper. Yuck, yuck, yuck. So I'm like, okay, I guess this is just another game where LeBron has to score 50 because no one else is putting anything up. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, ugh. He's got so many fucking badges related to just got catch and shoot, comeback kid, guard up. Guard up is funny because it increases even further the ability to make jump shots when defenders fail to properly contest. So like this should be automatic, and he's missed 5 in a row. I don't even know what the hell to think anymore. Like,
Is that just like playing on a Hall of Fame?
yeah, Superstar, which is the second highest difficulty, it's right under Hall of Fame. Because Hall of Fame's just retarded. Like, it's the worst. There's not basketball. Superstar can be basketball, but every now and again something like this happens where you're just like, dude, come on. Like, this is a little too much. Alright. I'll go ahead and just do what the game obviously wants me to do, which is, get Kennedy going by just feeding him a jillion fucking layups on the pick and roll instead of the pick and pop. And then later when he's red hot from making a bajillion shots, a bajillion layups I should say, suddenly he'll find out how to shoot mid-range. Oh no! Big Z got hurt. Damn it.
Holding on to his knee. Holding
Shoulder.
on.
Holding on to his shoulder and down. Let's see what we got here.
Holding on to his fake MVP trophy and down.
Bruised right shoulder, 2 to 4 weeks. It's not even that bad. You can actually still play with that injury. You can't the game you get the injury, you sit it out, but I can actually just in the thing, I can let him keep playing.
Was that like when the dude put Greg Jennings in? When he had a broken leg in Madden?
He put the team on his back, though.
Dude, that'd be hilarious
The
if you
answer
could
is
like
no.
have LeBron break his leg and then go force him to go back in the game. He'd just be like limping around.
Oh shit, Darren Sharper.
That video got better a few years later when Darren Sharper was convicted of rape.
Right. Yeah, I was like, he did something funny. Larry Cleast. Oh, that's what it was.
Marshall, what's up? The Lakers coach tried to blame the refs in the post-game press conference. Jesus Christ. Sad.
Yo, Kobe's trending right now because everyone's all like, Kobe's got to be rolling in his grave right now, and I'm all like, he would be if there was enough left of him to roll. But fucking hold on.
Jack is rolling in his grave and he's not even dead yet.
Right, because not only did the Lakers just get swept, but the Celtics are about to get swept when fucking Tatum was like sucking Kobe's dick and thinks he's the second coming of Kobe or some shit.
Mm.
I hate that shit. It's the worst part. It's like the amount of people who are like, I'm dedicating this to Kobe's memory and all that kind of shit. It's like, no, let the man rest in peace. Because you didn't dedicate shit to him when he was still alive. So shut up. Fucking Michael Jordan is trending because people are saying that Charlotte should put a plan together to draft to tank for Bronny so that LeBron can sign.
Yeah, that's what I suggested the other day. That way LeBron would play for Jordan on his final
That
year.
was hilarious. Oh my god. Dude, this person's getting roasted. What an absolute humongous balls right there. Remember, you only hate LeBron because you know deep down inside he's better than Kobe. Son of a bitch.
I posed this question. I've been thinking about this to myself. If the NBAB was still a thing,
Oh shit! I'm seeing just now the last chance the Lakers had. 30 seconds left in the game. They're only down by 2. LeBron receives the inbounds and doesn't even hit the rim. It just like clanks off the backboard. Wow.
no, that wasn't the last chance. He got the ball back and got, I think, blocked
Oh god.
with 4 seconds left. Like, I think if you
Let me
looked at
see this. Oh, this is even better. What happened right before that? He dribbles the shot clock down, and with the game on the line, the season on the line, his legacy on the line, and what could potentially be his last game, with 5 seconds left on the shot clock, he passes to Dennis Schroeder, who then throws it away.
At least he didn't pass it to Jamario Moon.
Oh my god. It gets even worse. Cause like I was with Callie as a short version, but I didn't watch the end of the game. I came back in when it was over and was celebrating and all that shit. So I'm watching the final minutes for the first time. In that instance where LeBron passed to Dennis Schroeder, he was in an ISO with Jokic on him. He's only down by 2. He should love that fucking matchup. Unbelievable.
LeBron died as he
Also,
lived.
also, Zion Williamson. I'm gonna go ahead and call him a bust because he was not only the first overall pick, but people said he's gonna be the best player in the league someday, like they always do. So whatever. But like, he missed the entire 2022 season with an injury, and this season he only played 29 games. He's been in the league since 2019, and he's only played 114 games.
Has he even made an All-Star game yet? I'm not sure if he has.
Twice.
Okay,
Because it's based off of voting. But other than an All-Star game, all he's got is all-rookie first team. And what's even funnier is he was all-rookie first team with 24 games played.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was not a good year for rookies, I don't think. I actually made decent money because I bet on Ja Morant to win Rookie of the Year that year. I remember that. I was pretty happy with myself. Because I got the bet down before it was announced that Zion would miss most of the year. So the odds were actually solid. And then I just sat on that bet all year.
Oh, nice move. So all rookie first and second team, Ja Morant, like you said, and also Kendrick Nunn, Brandon Clark, Zion Williamson, Eric Pascal. All rookie second team, Tyler Hero, Terrence Davis, Kobe White, PJ Washington, and Rui Hachimura.
Chimura. Doesn't look Japanese to me. But I think it's pretty cool that he's actually pretty decent.
He's Japanese in the face, but the thing is because he's half black, like, when you mix any light-skinned ethnicity with black, it's gonna tell. So yeah, like, he kind of looks Filipino because he's dark-skinned and has Asian features. But you say he's half Japanese, I'd buy it.
Yeah, he's half Japanese. I think he was like the first half Japanese player to ever get taken that high in the draft or something.
Who knows? But anyway, yeah. Amazing that he was all rookie first team with only 24 games. That's crazy. So he's been in the league for 4 years. Zion Williamson. He missed one season completely with an injury. He had 1 year with 29 games, 1 year with 24 games, and his career high is 61 games. Now, when he's on the court, he scores a lot, but the Pelicans suck. So it's a Tony Roten situation. He's a bust. Like, he doesn't play. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna get really milky here in a second. By this point in his career, Greg Oden played more games.
Well, that is the comparison people are making.
So that dude's a bust. Holy fucking shit. By this point in his career, Greg Oden had more games. Like, it's like real close. It's a small handful. But it's mostly because in his rookie year, he had a lot more games. Oh man, that is nuts. That really makes me laugh, man. That's hilarious to me. I'm out still. Yay.
I don't remember. I got really bored in one of my college classes one semester, so I wrote a 20-page fake thesis on why Greg Oden is a bust. I used like a bunch of these different like charts and pie graphs and shit like that to make the argument that Greg Oden is a bust, and I posted it on the NBAB just to piss off Blazers fans. They were really unhappy.
Oh man, that's a nice meme. I'm very proud of you for that, Joker.
I remember Happy posting the topic and was like, please let this be real. He was like, I really hope this is real. Just the ultimate waste of time. That argues something that is clearly and obviously a fact.
Good effort. Oh, that was so close.
Blazers fans back then were so easy to piss off. But
That's why I
anyway,
kind of like what
no, go ahead.
I said. I like when Cleveland-based teams are actually competitive. It's rare, but their fan base is really not insufferable because like they have to be. You know, like they're literally Cleveland. What the fuck would they possibly have to brag about?
But anyway, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, if, let's say the NBAB was still like a big thing, like the forum was still really active,
Hmm.
what would legit have done when the Lakers signed LeBron? I feel like they disband. Half of their shtick was crapping on LeBron, and now they're supposed to, like, cape up for the
They
guy?
would have just found someone. Like, if you want to know what they would have done, the only thing you need to do is look at what RTC did, which was embrace caping up for LeBron because it was a hilarious meme. And he did that to fake being a Heat fan after they won their first championship, where he was all like, by the way, guys, I was a Heat fan the whole time. And it was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
But that's exactly what legit would have done. Because it would have been hilarious, they would have all started pretending that they always loved LeBron, and Earl would have made a bunch of homoerotic fucking gay porn photoshops of LeBron. He probably would have just said, if you've ever seen gay porn before, you would know that LeBron is a top. Oh man, that's good stuff.
I don't know. Their devotion to Kobe may have driven them to, I when I listened to Bill Simmons' pod earlier, he went to Lakers Nuggets game 3, and he was talking
Mhm.
about it. And one thing he said was, there are still mostly Kobe jerseys out there in the crowds. I don't see a lot of LeBron jerseys. Like, that is
Of
still a
course.
Kobe team.
Because it's not that long ago. Plus, the man's dead. Like, he's practically a fucking martyr. Like, if you go to Heat games, there's still a shitload of people wearing Wade jerseys.
Haven't
If
traded
he
them in for
died,
Jimmy Butler jerseys.
I want to wear a fucking Mario Chalmers jersey with the number 6 on it. I used to love telling that to people. When people said, will LeBron's jersey get retired? I'm all like, yes. Number 6 will be retired for the Miami Heat. It'll just say Chalmers on the back. Oh, man. I mean, Chalmers earned those rings. And I'm not even talking about keep underestimating Chalmers. I mean, that's just nice to like. He wore 6 his entire career in high school, in college, and in the NBA for his first few seasons. He gave it up to let LeBron have it, and LeBron just wanted it because he couldn't wear 23 because Miami had retired it. So instead, he was like, "Well, I also like Dr. J, so I decided to wear number 6."
And then he said nobody should ever wear 23 again because of Michael Jordan, and then he wore it again when he went back to Cleveland.
Um, I don't think it was him saying that. That was Pat Riley's justification for why Miami retired it.
Oh, okay.
Because he was all like, Michael Jordan's like Wayne Gretzky, and everyone, like, they retired Gretzky's number across the league, so let's retire Jordan's. And Pat Riley believes in leading by example, so he did that for Miami. But Chalmers, when he left Miami, he went back to wearing 6. So like that's just when you think about it, that's a pretty big thing for an athlete to do, to give up their number just to let another guy have it, even though it's their number. Like,
I mean, I'd definitely give up my number for somebody like LeBron, especially if I'm somebody like a Mario Chalmers. I'm not going to make a big stink out of it. But yeah, Ricky Davis wouldn't have given up his number for LeBron. We know that.
exactly. See, what's even crazier is if I remember right, Andre Drummond initially wanted to wear number 10, but that had been retired by the Pistons because that was Rodman's number. Rodman actually said, "Hey, he's got my permission. I'll unretire so that Drummond can wear it." This is when Drummond hadn't played a single game. That's pretty big of Rodman.
Yes, at a
For all
certain
you knew,
point,
the
the
kid...
number thing becomes a little silly. Like, it's a fucking number.
Right. But, like... For all you knew, the kid was gonna bust like hell and just, like, do a lot of damage to the reputation of that number, you know?
Which, I mean, Drummond didn't exactly have the greatest NBA career, if we're being honest. He had his moments.
The most enduring thing for me, in terms of memories of Andre Drummond, is, do you remember Jeanette McCurdy?
Yes, I think I do, yeah.
For those of you who don't, and also to jog Joker's memory so that he can be sure of what I'm talking about, Jeanette McCurdy is the actress who played iCarly's friend,
Oh, yes,
the
okay.
blonde girl. She's the one who, she didn't necessarily go public with it, but she also made it very clear that Dan Schneider molested her. So, like, it became basically an open secret. He hasn't gotten Weinstein, but pretty much everybody knows that Dan Schneider's a
Yeah.
predator because of Jeanette McCurdy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when Andre Drummond was early in his career, but he was still, you know, he was still the man in Detroit and he was making a decent amount of money. I think it was after he got his first deal. He was dating Jeanette McCurdy, and they were going at it for like about a year and a half. Then they split up, and Jeanette McCurdy started airing their dirty laundry in public, and she said that he was basically like the simpiest simp that ever simped. Like, he she was saying some shit like Andre got down on his knees to give her a promise ring after they'd been together for like a month. Now, I don't believe anything that Jeanette McCurdy had to say because at this time she was the one that had gotten dumped. So at this time, she's the woman who had been scorned, who also was a woman who had a screw loose on account of the fact that she was a child actress that had been molested. So there is no reason whatsoever to believe anything that she has to say. However, if it actually was true, it's pretty funny. A lot of the stuff that she had to say about Drummond.
I mean, I want to make fun of him for dating, like, a child actor who was in fucking iCarly. But I don't know, maybe for people of a certain age, that's actually, like, a big, like...
I think what you need to do is rephrase that a little bit because it made it sound like she was still a child.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I think it's a little messed up to date a child.
Yeah. Like,
It's like that one Tosh.0 meme. It's like there's only one thing worse than a rapist. And the guy has, it's like a whiteboard where he's doing a meeting or whatever. And there's the word rapist is uncovered, but then there's a covered up word that's right above it. So then he rips the tape off and it says child. So his point is child rapist. But what ends up happening is he goes, there's only one thing worse than a rapist. He rips the tape off and then the guy goes, a child.
That's pretty good. Okay. But I don't know, maybe for people in his age group, that was actually like a huge thing. It was like, whoa, you're sleeping with her? You're the man. I don't know.
Let me check something real quick. Why is refund trending?
Because Lakers fans want a refund on the money they spent on tickets for this game?
No, it's it is the name of a special Ethereum-based NFT. It's kind of like a meta name. Interesting. Okay, so anyway, Annette McCurdy, age, she's 30. Now Andre Drummond, age.
No, right guy, the other Dan Schneider, not Dan Schneider.
He is 29.
Yeah.
So Andre Drummond is actually a year younger
Huh.
than Jeanette McCurdy. That being the case, he may have actually grown up with a crush on her.
Yeah.
So in that sense, yeah, you know, wish fulfillment kind of stuff. Yeah. That noise is me going as her nudes got leaked. And I'm looking at them and I'm like,
No accounting for taste.
holy shit, what a legend. Before the game, Nikola Jokic was asked what the Lakers can do to stop him. He said, pray.
Sounds like something Mr. T would say.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Nikola Jokic, what's your prediction for tonight's game? My prediction? Yes, prediction. Hey. Holy shit, that's amazing.
Yeah. So one thing that came up on the Simmons podcast earlier today that I was listening to was one thing that Simmons was talking about is after Game 7 against Philly, where of course the Sixers got completely blown out, and Jason Tatum actually set a record for most points scored in a Game 7 with 50. Right? And when he was coming off the court after the game was over, he was holding up his hands to spell out like 50. And like he was, Simmons was kind of like, I just don't feel like a really great superstar player would do something like that, because it's supposed to be about winning. It's not supposed to be about, oh, I scored 50 points in a closeout game. And they kind of got into a little bit of an argument over whether or not something like that is really that big of a deal. It was like, I don't think Jimmy Butler or Nikola Jokic would do stuff like that.
No, they wouldn't. Jokic, this is another reason why Jokic is the second coming of Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan just wanted to win. And Jokic also just wants to win. They don't care about anything else. They don't care about flash. They don't care about highlights. They don't care about accolades. They don't care about stats. They just want the W. And that kind of thing creates an amazing player when you've really got the kind of talent to back it up. As a matter of fact, a guy like Kobe wouldn't have fucking done that either, because he'd have been thinking about it. He would have said it in the post game. He wouldn't have fucking acknowledged it when he was out there. He would have just been focused on the win. And I bring up Kobe like that because if Tatum's going to be out there, showing his whole ass on national television and claim that Kobe's his hero, then he needs to think about what Kobe would actually do. Kobe was an ice-cold motherfucker who was just trying to win. And he would brag about how he did after he fucking won. He didn't say shit about how he was going to pass up Shaq until the series was over. So yeah, he was thinking it the whole time, but like he fucking, so Tatum being there like celebrating 50 and all that shit. It's all like, okay, the game's not over, the series isn't over, the playoffs aren't over. Calm the fuck down, kid. Oof.
And so if the Heat win tomorrow, then there will be no basketball for 9 days, because the finals start on June 1st, regardless of how long this series takes. So that's kind of sucks.
That sucks.
Which I really don't like.
However, that's also going to be incredible, and I really hope that the Heat win tomorrow, because that amount of time for Jimmy to rest is going to be great.
Oh yeah, that's actually a good point. That is a long time between games, though. That's almost like when a college football team has their bowl game a month and a half after the regular season ends.
Yeah, this is what I mean. I subbed in my starters and fucking Big Z came back out. He's fine. He goes out there and he scores and then he just starts rubbing his shoulder. Hilarious. But yeah, what's gonna happen is like when the 2001 Lakers lost game 1 of the finals to break their undefeated streak.
Mm-hmm.
in the playoffs. Shaq talked about it, and he said it sucked because we swept our opponent, but the Sixers went to 7. So we had almost 2 weeks off before we played game 1. And the whole time, everyone was just talking about how we were undefeated and we were going to break the record and all this kind of shit. And, like, we were hardly practicing. Some of us were going out clubbing. Some of us, like, he didn't say it, but obviously Kobe. Some of us were just constantly in the gym fucking practicing. Everybody was kind of doing their own thing. And everyone was just waiting. So by the time the ball, the game was actually getting ready for jump ball, start tip-off, everybody was just in their own head, fucking obsessed with how things were going to go. And that's probably the biggest reason why we lost, is we weren't warm and we just spent 2 weeks psyching ourselves out.
Yeah.
So that being the case, the whole reason I'm bringing that up is because I think both teams are probably going to play sloppy as shit in game 1.
Makes sense. Yeah. I will say, the next time I see the Nuggets playing sloppy will be the first time.
Hey, do you remember in 2017 when the league was mad as hell and like they legitimately rigged it to make sure that the Warriors wouldn't have an undefeated postseason? Because the difference between the series going to Game 5 as opposed to being a sweep was the league losing something like a couple $100 million.
Right, I remember this. That's why I
Them
couldn't...
Cavs fans were trying to be like, no, they were just the Cavs legitimately won that game. We stopped the undefeatable beast from going undefeated. And it's all like, dude, the league had a couple $100 million reasons to fucking rig that game. Don't give me that shit.
Yeah, that's why I was always shocked that the '08 finals between the Celtics and Lakers wasn't rigged to go 7. Like, it went 6, and I was like, man, that game 7 would have been crazy. I can't believe they let that go.
Because if they rigged it to Game 7, Doc would have... You already know. It's kind of crazy to think about the Celtics actually winning a series instead of losing in 7 because Doc Rivers was the coach.
Thank God for Tom Thibodeau.
Basically.
Like, if you think about that year, the Cavs and the Celtics, if those two teams were merged into one team, like the Cavatics or whatever, and...
Oh my God in heaven. I'm sorry I need to interrupt you. But I'm playing the Kings right now. Their center is Nazem Muhammad. LeBron literally had the best poster dunk animation I've ever seen. He wrapped his legs around him. Oh my God. This is insane. I'm half tempted to like film this on my phone and text you just so you could see this shit. Holy fuck.
Don't you get replays off of the Xbox sharing button thingy?
Well, yeah, but I have no idea how to actually turn that into a video clip that I can then show you.
Oh, okay.
I'll just let it go. Man, that was incredible, though. What a dunk.
I remember when I played NBA Live 98 on my computer when I was a little kid. I would spend a really long time trying to get Gary Payton to dunk because he always just did layups. And it was like, it took hours, but eventually I got him to dunk. And I was like really happy with myself. Steve Nash said he could have dunked, but he never did because it wasted more energy than a layup.
He said that he could have dunked, but he never did because it would have been an insult to his native South Africa.
That's one way to look at it, I guess.
Steve Nash said he wanted to be the only African not dunking. Fuck's sake. Barnacles.
I'm sure pretty much every player who's ever played in the NBA in the last 50 years was physically capable of dunking. The ones that don't just choose not to, but yeah. I wonder if current Udonis Haslam is capable of dunking.
He may be, because he's tall enough, but it's hard to say for sure, because Vince Carter, even though he was one of the most athletic dudes ever, when he was UD's age, he basically couldn't get up anymore. But UD might be able to just because he's tall enough, because like Shaq can still dunk.
Shaq doesn't even have to jump, he reaches up.
Udonis Haslam is 42 right now. He's also 6. Really? I thought he was taller than that. Wikipedia has him billed as 6'7".
Pretty tall. I thought he was 6'9", though.
Damn. Now Vince is 46, and yeah, 4 years ago he basically couldn't dunk anymore.
That's depressing.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna check. I'm gonna say Vince Carter Hawks dunk. Let me see. Because that would have been when he was 40. Yeah, here we go. Vince Carter, all dunks at age 42. The video is 40 seconds long. Oh god, he's barely getting up there. Like, he's still getting the dunk at 42, but it's barely there. Like, it's kind of sad to see, and a lot of people saying that in the comments too. It actually looks like a point guard trying to dunk. Like, he's barely getting there. Wow, that's insane. Vince Carter was playing on the Hawks team with Trae Young. Vince Carter was drafted before Trae Young was born.
I remember that.
That is fucking crazy. There you go. Finally he hits that shot. I had to give Kennedy 5 uncontested... El Presidor, 5 uncontested layup passes from LeBron before he finally made a jump shot. Goddamn, dude. And this Kings team is not ready to fucking defend a pick and roll.
Kings in that era that you're in, like, well, if they don't even, I mean, they don't even have Chris Webber, so it's like...
Yeah, exactly. They really need Chris Webber. Without him, they're just like half a team, pretty much. Oh man, that's one way to send it. LeBron mad as hell that a guy got the fucking offensive rebound. So when he went to block the shot, he just missed the ball completely and just fucking smacked him in the face. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's almost the Andrew Bynum then.
What did I tell you, by the way? I told you no one on that Lakers roster was heroic enough to unleash the hero elbow. None of them were willing to fucking do what had to be done.
Should have been D'Angelo Russell.
That would have been funny. Can you imagine if it was Anthony Davis, though?
These motherfuckers think I'm soft.
Oh, man. No, I remember when Anthony Davis This was one of the weirdest fucking things I'd ever seen. A video came out shortly before he got drafted, um, of him in the locker room at the University of Kentucky. After the game, his teammates stripped him naked, held him down on the locker room floor with his hands pinned behind his back, and all just took turns spanking his ass. And a video of that leaked out, and I posted it in every thread that Ninja made for a month until my account got banned. Posting it. I just kept saying the same thing. Is this really who the Hornets wanted? Still one of the most bizarre fucking things I've ever seen in my life, especially when the camera goes up to Anthony Davis's face while this is going on, and he sticks his tongue out and he goes, It was the it was the gayest shit that I've ever seen from a professional athlete. Good lord.
It's a wonder that Ninja doesn't hate your guts after all that. After everything you did to him.
Oh man, I'm a bully. I wonder if I can still find that video. That was that was certainly something.
Sounds like basically what Legit would do in the threads after every single Lakers win back in the day.
What, spank Anthony Davis's ass?
No, spank each other's ass.
Spank Earl's ass.
Like, I remember one time after a Lakers win, it was like a regular season win too. It didn't even really mean that much. Earl made a thread where he was celebrating and he was like,
Oh. Oh yeah, here we go. TMZ still got it. I'm gonna go ahead and assume you don't want to watch it, but yeah, it's still on TMZ.
The blood-stained moon shines upon the land.
but what I remember like Earl posted something like asterisk strips naked asterisk and then like jumps on broomstick, rides around for, and people are like, okay, so the current situation is that Earl is naked and he's riding a broomstick around the boards. It was really fucking weird. That guy was amazing, honestly. He was so much funnier.
I don't know if you remember the Cumtown bit where they were fucking doing Judge Dredd taking out homosexuals. But they were doing a fucking like, control, we got a couple of Fruit Loops driving around town. I keep shooting them and they just explode into glitter.
I don't remember that.
Oh man. Because I'm envisioning this happening. So everyone's like, okay, Earl's doing that shit, and then fucking Dredd calls the control. You got a lunatic after the basketball games driving around town. Oh man. Whew. That's good stuff. Leading at halftime, 54-35.
Every game is like the Pistons playing the Knicks, huh?
Pretty much.
Big Country, me and Snacks were talking about that on stream the other day, and I was looking at the list of best NBA coaches of all time. I do think, like, right now, if Spo doesn't exist, the fifth best NBA coach of all time is probably like Larry Brown, who only won one title. So I kind of think Spo is already top 5, even if he doesn't win the title this year.
If he does win the title this year, he's top 2.
I mean, that's the thing. Other than the big 4, there's a surprising deficiency of all-time great NBA coaches. Like, Phil Jackson, Red Auerbach, Greg Popovich, Pat Riley, and then there's like this big drop-off. You've got like fucking Larry Brown, you've got Rudy Tomjanovich, you've got Lenny Wilkins. Like, it's not that great.
A big reason for that is because people never give coaches time to really get things done. Unless the franchise, most of the time, is just outrageously incompetent. So then you have a guy who sucks who's just there for way too long.
Some guys don't like. I think Mike D'Antoni would be considered a top 10 coach of all time if he won just one title, but he was never able to get that one title.
But you're right that he is a hell of a coach.
He'll never get the credit he deserves because he just couldn't break through that one year.
Right. Revolutionized the way that people play offense, though.
If Thibodeau won a title as a head coach, he might suddenly be like, hey, he's one of the 6 best coaches ever.
Yeah, it's funny because for coaches, the way that people look at them in terms of their ability has a lot to do with championships. But the funny thing is that championships don't matter for the coach keeping his fucking job. So that's kind of weird to think about, don't you think? Imagine the Bucks don't fire Budenholzer. Now imagine the Bucks remain as competitive as they are right now for the next, let's just say, 7 seasons. Budenholzer is now up there in the conversation.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I just clicked over to Discord and I saw the fucking picture you sent me. Dude, it looks like fucking Jeff the Killer.
For those of you wondering what it was a still of Anthony Davis's face, just his face, from that TMZ video, which was fucking hilarious.
Anyway, go ahead. You were talking about coaches.
Jesus Christ. I was gonna say, yeah, if the Bucks didn't fire Budenholzer and the Bucks remain as competitive as they are right now for, let's just say, the next 7 seasons, Budenholzer's suddenly in the conversation. But now, in order for Budenholzer to still be able to have the ability to be talked about in that same sense, he's got to get picked up with another franchise, and he needs the ability to stay there. Now, he's proven he can win. He's proven he can turn a franchise around, but that doesn't matter because he got fired 2 seasons after winning the championship. That's generally why, exactly what you're talking about, where it's like it's hard to think of a coach because coaches need time to be able to build their system and to be able to leave their impact. And a lot of the time, the guys who get the chance to do that actually suck and are there because of corruption, nepotism, whatever.
Like, Jerry Sloan has to be up there, but he never won the title, so it seems really weird to put him in, like, the top 5.
Yeah, but he's definitely way up there. Unquestionably top 10. Why were you paying, fucking dipshit?
Oh, yeah, Chuck Daly. That's
I can't
a Daly.
force
That's
the
a
AI
good
to
one.
get out.
I actually kind of forgot about him.
I mean, unless the Warriors finally blow it up, eventually people are going to start talking about Steve Kerr. But he's not fucking that good of a coach.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, because of the deficiency of historically great coaches, the 4 rings might actually kind of default him into the top 10 right now.
Plus, I think 2 Coach of the Year awards.
Yeah, it's either 1 or 2. But I do think he's top 10 just because there are a lot of guys who just like George Karl was an amazing coach, but who's going to put him in the top 5 when he never won a title?
Me. Because, see, I've said it many times before. What I admire is consistency and the ability to succeed across multiple eras. George Karl was an amazing coach with the Sonics and with the Nuggets. He managed to do a hell of a lot with a lot of different people. That's something that I admire.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not against that.
Because, I mean, like, for me, you know, as people go talk about Steve Kerr's a great coach and all this, I'm all like, let's see the Warriors blow it up. Let's see Steve Kerr stay with that team. And then fucking talk to me about that shit. Because Popovich has shown, even with a crappy Spurs team, you know, that he still knows what he's doing. And still deserves credit. It's just that, like, the team sucks.
I mean,
But,
Popovich also player development's off the charts. Kawhi Leonard didn't know how to shoot at all when he came into the NBA.
right. Oh my god, why am I not getting fouls? Wait a minute, we were up by almost 20. It's only a 2-point game now? My bench sucks. There we go.
Well, yeah, big country, but that's because the Warriors were tanking when Curry got hurt. I don't think that's a reflection of Kerr. They wanted to be really bad. But I do agree that Kerr's probably overrated, but I don't think that is like the smoking gun.
Speaking of smoking guns, thanks for reminding me.
I don't like where this is going.
Why not?
All this talk of smoking guns, like like where is this conversation going? You know?
Well, Mo Williams, he has a smoking gun or finger gun taunt when he makes a 3. So I said, it's time to sub Mo back in. Let's do it.
Okay. That's a lot better than the alternative of you getting your gun out.
And then I take out my gun.
Yeah, because some...
What did you mean metaphorical gun?
No, I thought some plumber guy was trying to tell you to use a 50-cent washer piece on your foundation.
If you just buy a 50-cent washer. Finally, I get the fucking free throws. Holy shit. This is unleashed a hero elbow on LeBron. Look at that shit. What a bastard. Alright, let's see.
Bastard.
New folder. Name it.
got here? Oh, I see what's going on here.
Do you know?
Very nice, no problem. Oh, that's cool, Silver. My mouse pad, my mouse pad is one from The Dark Knight when that movie came out, so I've had it for like 15 years. It probably smells terrible and I don't even realize it.
Yeah, that's disgusting. But based.
You think about it.
You know, if you really think about it, I think having a daughter is the ultimate cuck.
Alright, let's see here.
Ugh. Alright, I'm gonna stop shooting threes. We can't outshoot the Sacramento team. Which sucks, because we're at home.
Is it easy to like get a ton of foul calls and like get all their players in foul trouble?
Depends on the situation, but if you know what to do and you're using personnel that can pull that off, generally yes. For instance, if you're playing as young LeBron, yeah, fairly simple. If you're playing as young Shaq, yeah, fairly simple. The most difficult part of trying to get those fouls is that when you're pulling it off properly, you start getting double teamed almost instantly. It gets a lot tougher to actually pull it off. But yeah, LeBron's getting hacked real bad. But I'm also going crazy with the assists right now too, and I'm scoring a lot of points off of foul calls. So LeBron catches the ball at the three-point line and gets doubled almost instantly. So what's the right basketball play there? You pass to the open shooter. Well, my guys aren't making fucking shots. So, what can you do? Oh no, that was total horse crap. That was all ball. Oh, that was just a wonky animation. Okay. There's no reason to do. There's fucking stone hands over here.
Oh, by the way, how's that? Actually, this was from your Magic franchise. Now that I think about it, you might not even remember that George Berezin guy you drafted. Did he end up doing anything?
Yeah, he was actually really useful. Because of his height, his stats, his attributes actually didn't matter because his stats were so fucking abysmal, but he was so tall. Didn't matter because in 2K they did this a number of years ago and they did it ironically so that in multiplayer it was harder to cheese. Um, because you would have amazing defensive stats from wing players who would make it impossible for very large guys to actually succeed in the post because they're getting posted up by a really small wing player who just has great defensive stats. So they said, okay, fuck that shit. So 2K made it so that if you're above a certain threshold of you being taller than your defender, when you're within the restricted zone in the post, any shot will be considered an uncontested layup. So you now have like a 90% chance of making the shot. He only had one badge, but that badge was to make him better at finishing around the rim. So he actually, especially when I shifted to the triangle, he became incredible. He was averaging 21 points a game because he'd be able to get into the post and just dominate like that. Because the threshold I think is if you're at least half a foot taller than your defender. He's 7'7". So anyone who's shorter than 7'2", it's an uncontested layup. So it's an uncontested layup against guys like Akeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing. Didn't matter.
Actually, kind of funny. So, and it, yeah. I mean, I've seen that happen in some of the basketball games I played, where like somebody's just so tall, the rest of the shit don't matter.
Yeah, legitimately fucking 2K cheese. That guy's an incredible player to get in 2K. He also has a very decent jump shot. He's a really good free throw shooter, and obviously incredible rebounder because he's 7.5 feet tall. So yeah, like he's slow, like you can't even imagine, and his attributes are like rock fucking bottom. But he's perfect for 2K. He just pops off. It's crazy.
Cool.
There we go.
Wanna play. I didn't read. Next pick, I guess.
I really loved that change that they made to make big men have an easier time in the post up when their defender's smaller. Because then it makes mismatches work out. Because thanks to the way the 2K works, it was already good when when you were playing as a wing and you had a mismatch having a tall, slow center on you. Got so good when you would have that mismatch and now you're the center and you've got the wing on you. It's just like, okay, now all I need to do is just back it up into the post and let this go. And then here, the help would come because it has to, and then you'd pass out to the open man. It started to look like actual basketball. It was great.
So, like, Yao Ming would be really, really good in 2K now.
Yes. To be fair, Yao in real life was really, really good. The only thing that ever held him back was just that he kept getting hurt.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, in 2K, you can control that kind of thing. Plus, being injury prone isn't really modeled, because even if you have a high likelihood of getting hurt, it's still based off of a random number generator. So if you do get hurt, the only thing you need to do is just quit out of the game without saving and reload, and just like that, Yao gets to play 82 games.
You could turn injuries off, I guess.
That too. That's life. Giannis Antetokounmpo is basically automatic with a Euro step. And 2K here, rookie LeBron is basically automatic with a Euro step. Like, what the fuck? You love to see it.
Apparently, Giannis's Euro step is called a gyro step because he's Greek.
Well, what's even better is the Greeks pronounce, because I know the way that that's spelled, what you're saying. The Greeks pronounce it Gyro. They pronounce it hero.
Euro step, okay.
The hero step. That's even better. That's even better. The hero step, baby. Location.
JS! Welcome back. Thank you for the resub. 13 months in a row now. Thank you, JS. Appreciate it. Man. Okay, so... Tyler Harrow played 67 games this year, averaged 20 points a game, has not been back for the playoffs at all, and the Heat are still here. I mean, that's another reason why people were not thinking that the Heat were going to do this. They were missing probably their, third best player the whole postseason, and it doesn't even fucking matter.
Yes. And that's actually unironically something that I'm concerned about. Is he could end up destroying the chemistry and fucking it all up. I'm not looking forward to that if it ends up happening.
You know, JS, I don't know. You know, I know why you're saying that. I get what you're saying, but also at the same time, it's like, can't this Heat team be appealing for the same reason like those Spurs teams that shot all those threes were appealing? It's the same idea. They just keep passing and passing and passing until someone gets an open three. That's kind of what the Heat are doing right now. I don't know why that can't be appealing.
That's also what the Nuggets are doing.
Yeah.
Ball movement is like, what the hell? Who is saying that ball movement is not good?
No, it's just the fact that the casual NBA fans are not really going to be into these finals, which I do agree with, because, I don't know, lack of star power. I don't totally get it either, but, I mean, I think we both know that the Denver meat market is not going to generate a ton of ratings for an NBA Finals. So it is going to happen, I have no doubt.
The only reason people are saying that shit is because it could have been a Lakers-Celtics finals, and they're salty that it wasn't. However, the Lakers suck, and the Celtics are boring.
Yeah, I don't really like watching the Celtics team that much. I do agree with that part of it. I would much rather watch
do you really
these
want to
teams.
watch Tatum go 3 for 27, ISOing the entire game? Like, ugh.
I just don't know why Lakers fans are so pissed off. Their team was legitimately terrible, and then they made the Hail Mary trade that bailed them out for basically a few months.
The Lakers were also a play-in team. If it was a Lakers Heat finals, it would have been the first finals to ever be consisting entirely of fucking playing teams. So I mean, I know why they're complaining. There's two reasons for it. Because either they're LeBron fans, in which case, duh, they're complaining because LeBron didn't make the finals. Or they're Lakers fans, in which case, duh, they're complaining because they're fucking entitled as hell and think that the Lakers should constantly win. And because the Lakers fans are basically the Yankees fans of the NBA. You know, they're all like, if it's not the Lakers in the finals, how is anyone going to care? How will anyone want to watch this if it's not the Lakers in the finals?
And I mean, the amusing thing about that is, other than the bubble title, the Lakers have been pretty lackluster as a franchise for a while now.
Yes, this LeBron Lakers team has been complete ass except for the bubble. And the only reason for that is because the bubble was the one time Anthony Davis has ever been healthy in his life.
Kind of like how the Yankees have only won one World Series in the last quarter decade, almost. Like, the Yankees have been, like, low-key really underwhelming.
Yeah.
Crazy times. Okay.
Should I intentionally make this closer just to see if LeBron can go crazy in the clutch?
No.
It may not be up to me if they keep
It's
fucking
LeBron.
making threes. Yeah, seriously. Oh shit.
And besides, it's LeBron. He'll probably fuck it up. Remember, he can only make uncontested layups.
Exactly. Barbosa has fucking ice in his veins, dude. Holy shit. I wanted to pass to LeBron, and the button for that would be X, because he's a small forward, which is the same button to shoot. And I didn't have the pass icon button active, so I accidentally just pulled up right in my defender's face and then just drilled a three.
Jason Terry style.
Exactly. I was like, wow, Barbosa's... he's a fucking legend. Look at that shit. Fuck. Bad passer, though. Shit. Okay, who needs to sit? LeBron momentarily.
Jokic played 45 minutes tonight. The Nuggets only played 7 total players the whole game.
Nice.
Okay. Alright, guys. I think that's going to do it for tonight. Thanks for hanging out. We're probably going to try to do this second temple next time we play, which will probably be tomorrow, but you never know. But, yeah, I think I've found enough shrines to where I can at least try this. So, again, thanks for hanging out. See you guys tomorrow. There will be a video in the morning. See you then.